Listen, I know I'm a little late to the party, but this thing is dope. Chroma Console, this is dope.
Bolo!
Before we get started, if you guys need any equipment for your studio, make sure you guys go ahead and click my link in the description and head over to Zounds.com. Zounds has a whole bunch of stuff on the site, and they have a whole bunch of stuff on the site that requires no credit or background check, meaning all you have to do is order it, they'll ship it to you, and you can make monthly payments. All you have to do is add a credit or debit card up to the account, and you can go ahead and get your stuff just like that. So if you guys need some equipment, make sure you guys go ahead and click my link in the description and head over to Zounds.com and get you some equipment today. Also, you guys know I rock with analog cases because they make the best cases to protect your gear, and they make the most professional stands to protect your gear as well. And they just released a new travel backpack called the Track Pack. The Track Pack Travel Backpack. Wonder if you can say that 3 times in a row. But this is the ultimate musician's backpack to travel with. This is a professional musician's backpack. You can put your MPC Live 2 in there. You can put your Machine Plus, your Roland SP404. You can add in your MIDI controllers as well, and you even have a compartment to add your laptop in there too. And everything stays protected because this bag is heavily insulated with nothing but protection. And to make things even better, they have a whole bunch of compartments to where you can put your cords, your keys, your cell phones, hell, the kitchen sink if you want to put that in there too. So if you're a professional musician that is on the go, make sure you guys go ahead and check out this Track Pack Traveler's Backpack. I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. Go ahead and click my link in the description to Analog Cases and save 10% today. All right, so what is this? What does the Chroma Console do? Well, basically, it's an effects box that has everything in it that you would normally see in like RC20 and in Air Flavor Pro 2 inside of the MPC. So it's basically like the hardware version of both of those different VSTs. And this thing is dope. Like, it can transform any sound into whatever you're trying to do, just like how you would do on RC20 or Air Flavor Pro. It has that hardware effect to it, the way you have to run it through some chords and stuff, and it just has a little bit more grit. It's a little more open, and it's just dope. And how I use this as an insert effect on my MPC. So I actually use this on my MPC X or on my MPC Live because I have an extra output that I can plug this thing in, and I actually drive the signal of this using the insert, because now with the 3.0 software, it is so easy to use hardware inserts directly with your MPC. So that's what I'm gonna show you guys, how to do that today. And I'm gonna show you guys how dope this is as well, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and use this today on a very cheesy beat. And this was not sent to me, okay? I actually paid for this with my own money because I liked it. Shout out to Javar Rockmore for putting me on this first, and shout out to Honorable Sino for showing me this in his studio as well. So I wanted to go ahead and get this. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and show you guys how this thing works as an effects preset inside of your MPC. So without me talking so much, let's go ahead and get to it right now. All right, so as you guys can see, I have my MPC Live 2 right here, and I have the Hologram Chroma Console hooked up to it. And the way I hook this up is a little bit different from most that hook this up. A lot of times people take these outboard effects right here and they hook them up directly out of the master output, and then they just put the effects over the whole thing. Well, me, I try to do things a little bit different. What I want to do was I want to separate the effect from the whole track. So I wanted to be able to add a bit of the effect on each individual track if I wanted to do that without affecting the drums. And the only way to do that on here is to be able to do it through an effects send. So I actually have this running as a send effect through my MPC Live 2. Now, you're gonna have to have an MPC with enough outputs. I know the MPC Live has enough outputs, the MPC Live 2, the MPC Key 61, and the MPC X and the MPC X Special Edition. And pretty much all the older MPCs, you can use outboard gear and be able to use that as a send effect on there as well. Now, with the new MPCs and with the new MPC 3.0 software, it is very easy to send your effects and very easy to route your effects inside of the unit. All you simply have to do is take the output of the effect or the compressor or whatever you want to use for the effect, your reverb, whatever you want to use, take the output of that, put it into the input of the MPC, and then from there, you want to take one of the outputs. On here, I have output 3 and 4, and I have that going into the Chroma Console, and that way we can route the effect, and then we can send the amount of the effect to the Chroma Console, and it'll route that back into the MPC. So it's not that hard to do. Basically, you're going out from the effects unit into the MPC, and then out of the MPC through one of the outputs into the input of your effect or whatever you're going to be using so far as outboard gear. Now, with the new MPC 3.0 software, it is very easy to go ahead and send effects to your outboard gear. All you have to do is go right here, click on this, and it will take you to all these different parameters right there. And as you guys can see, I already have it set on my send. As soon as I press this send up right here, what it's going to do is it's going to send that signal, this effect right here, inside of here so we can hear it. Now, to be able to hear this, we have to have this on the correct line output. And right now I have it on line outputs 3 and 4, which I do have the cables plugged in through line out 3 and 4 going into the effects generator, which is the Chroma Console. So once I have that done, then I will be able to hear the effect and it will come back into the MPC. Now, on the MPC Live 2, what you're gonna have to do is go ahead to the sampler and make sure you turn this to end right here so that it will allow the sound of the Chroma Console to come into the MPC, and in that way you can actually hear the Chroma Console that way. And if this sounds confusing, there's a ton of videos that show you how to route effects. And it doesn't matter if it's through the MPC or through an audio interface or whatever, it's all good. And one last thing too, you still have hope if you have an MPC Key 37 and an MPC 1 as well, because if you do not have enough outputs, you can go ahead and just hook up a maybe 4-channel like audio interface that is class compliant, and then you can actually do the same thing that I'm doing today. So there is hope for, you Key 37 and MPC 1 users, but it has to be class compliant and it has to have at least 2 outputs. What I did was I actually made a very cheesy beat, and I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, and I'm not gonna have any effects on here. So let me play the beat for you real quick. All right, simple beat, got a piano in there and a bell part, okay? And I'm using the internal VST sounds inside of the MPC, okay? I'm using the internal sounds in here. And you can use this with samples and everything else. The only thing that you cannot use this with is MIDI. It has to be inside of the unit so it could pass through. I wish we could use it with MIDI, like if I had like a MIDI keyboard or something like that, but it's like a totally different way of routing it. But if you're using the internal sounds or samples or anything like that that's inside of this actual unit, you can use it like this. All right, so let me show you guys how this thing sounds. And like I said before, I'm not gonna go too deep with this because there's already a lot of videos on this, but I am gonna go through a few of the presets so you guys can hear how dope this thing is, okay? This Chroma Console is dope. I'm so glad I got it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute all the drum parts real quick, and I'm just gonna actually mute everything except for the piano part real quick. So here's the piano part right here, just dry. All right, sounds good, sounds decent, but now let's go ahead and send the Chroma Console effect to it. And I already have like a little preset I made on here. Now the presets I used on here is I used a howl effect on here on the character. I used a tremolo effect on here. For the diffusion, I used a reverse on the diffusion, and on the texture, I used a cassette, which gives it that, cassette sound. And this is how it sounds. So let's play it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the send up on here and you guys will be able to hear the effect. All right, and as you guys can see, when I turned up the send effect, I was starting to hear the effect of the Chroma Console, and we can hear it inside of the MPC. And the more and more I send this effect, the more and more you will hear this effect. That's the great thing about using the sends on here rather than using this on the output, because now we can actually send how much of the effect we want. So if I want to turn this up even more, it's going to get a little drastic, but I can turn it up even more and you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, I kind of actually like it right there. So sounds really good. And as you guys can see, yes, it's kind of like the hardware version of RC20 or Air Flavor Pro. The only thing I like about using hardware gear is it just gives it a totally different like type of a texture. Like it just sounds more open. It sounds rugged. It sounds raw. And it's just, to me, it just sounds better because I like that analog texture from it going through the cables and hitting the pre's and stuff like that. And just, I don't know, it just sounds good to me. I just like it better this way. Even though RC20 and even inside the MPC, the Air Flavor Pro is really good, I just like to hear this analog type of a sound. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to unmute the bell part right here. And as you guys can hear, the bell part is not affected by anything because we don't have a send effect going to it. And we can just play it. And as you guys can hear, it actually sounds pretty good, but what I want to do is I want to add the effect to it, but I don't want to add too much. I just want to add a little bit to kind of give it a little grit and kind of match up a little bit with the piano part, but not too much. And that's another reason why I like using sends rather than just using it on the whole track like that. So let's go ahead and listen to that right now. All right, so when it blends in with everything, it's kind of a subtle thing, but you can hear it on there and it just gives it a little more texture, a little more grit in there. Now, let me go ahead and mute the piano part real quick so we can just hear the bell part by itself. Ooh, this is with it off. Sounds cool. Let's add the effect. About right here. Man, that sounds great. And now let's go ahead and add all the parts back in here. So let's add all the drum parts in here and let's play this thing back. Now, the cool thing about the Chroma Console, it has a whole bunch of individual presets. I'm not going to go through everything, but I just went ahead and created a whole nother patch with this. But I'm going to go through the individual presets and show you guys how this thing sounds individually, because you don't have to use everything at once. You can actually save these presets individually. So I got everything muted out on the Chroma Console, and I have everything muted but just the piano part on the MPC. And let's make sure that the send effect, let's turn the send effect up a little bit more so we can hear the effect on here. And then I have it on fuzz right now, and this is how it sounds. It's not really much, but if I want to turn this up, I could really turn that up and give it that fuzz effect, but I just want something really, really light on there. All right, the next thing I have on here is I have the vibrato on here. So let's play that real quick. So it's more like a vibrato, but it has more like a doubler type of effects to it. But if I turn this up a little bit more, it gives that effect, but I want to have about right here. Then the next thing I have is I have diffusion turned on, and I have it on collage right here, and this is how it sounds. All right, pretty decent little sound on there. And then the next sound I have on here is the texture, and I have the cassette on here. So let's go ahead and play that. And if I turn this up, sounds pretty cool. And then when you have everything turned on, this is how it sounds. It's kind of cool. Let's go back into the send and turn this down. That's cool. Now let's add all the other sounds in here. And I'm telling you, man, this thing is super dope, man. Like, super dope. Like, I haven't even scratched the surface with this. Like, even the different characteristics, like the drive, and turn that up. So, like, if you have, like, a guitar, or if you have anything, you can add that in there. Like, let me just show this real quick. You know what I'm saying? Just like with the drive. So, let me just press play. Let me just do the drive by itself. And let's put it on drive. And we can turn this up. And then go like to fuzz, or even howl, and play with the, come on, that's crazy. All right, and the cool thing about this is you can automate in here. So watch this, I'm gonna press play, watch this. And I can press these two buttons right here, and then now I can automate it, and then pull it back down. And I can turn it off. And it's gonna automate itself. That's crazy. It's gonna back up. It's gonna come back down. It's gonna filter it out. And if you want to override it, just move it. This thing is dope, man. This thing is dope. So yes, this is the Chroma Console. I've been using this with my outboard gear, with my keyboards and stuff like that, and just adding different textures and sounds and stuff like that. This thing is amazing. If you guys want to go ahead and pick this up, I will have a link to Hologram's actual website. That's where you can get the new ones at. And if you want to get like a used one, you can go to reverb.com and try them on there. But I think Hologram is the only place where you can get them new, unless I ain't seen nothing else. But these things are very dope. And if you want to go ahead and pick it up, link is in the description. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys learned something from it. And like I always say, peace out.